on my free 30-minute introduction to our first time buyer course. Firstly, congratulations on starting your home ownership journey. It's a massive, massive milestone and the most amount of money that you've ever saved or spent probably up until this point. So I'm here to make sure that you do the right thing for you when you're spending it. My main inspiration for creating this course is really to dispel the whole first time buyers will never be able to afford to get on the property ladder these days, or it's too hard, kids these days don't stand a chance. Actually, it doesn't have to be kids and it doesn't have to be that hard to get on the property ladder. I bought my first property when I was 19, just 19, and I don't believe that it's any harder necessarily than it was then. It's just different. Times have changed, things have changed, but it's not any harder, it's just different. Which is why I think the whole myth around first time buyers and getting on the property ladder is complete rubbish. And my course shows you exactly that, why it's rubbish, and helps you get your first home despite all the changes in the last few years.
There you go.
As I say, it is different now than it was 10, 20, 30 years ago maybe, when parents or family or relatives bought their first property. But the only reason that people think it's impossible or it's difficult is because there's been no education around the change between that time and this time buying a property. Actually back then there were no government schemes to help you do that. We had no Help to Buy, we had no lifetime ISAs, so things have really changed. It's just using what you've got at your fingertips today that they didn't have then to your advantage, to make it that actually you can get on the property ladder, and actually you've got choices. There's different ways of doing that. You don't have to follow a set pattern, you do what's right for you. My aim in this 30-minute is to give you a brief overview of the full course, and the full course will show you exactly what you need to do to get on the property ladder. And you'll hear me say a lot, it is exactly that, it's a property ladder. It doesn't have to be a perfect home, it doesn't have to be Instagram ready, it doesn't have to be your forever home. It has to suit you and your needs now. And it's quite often your first home is a stepping stone. Very few people into their 40s, 50s, 60s are still living in the first home that they bought. Most people move 2 or 3 times in their lifetime. So this is a stepping stone, but it's got to suit you now. And I'm going to give you the education and the confidence to do that, to buy a home knowing that you're spending your hard-earned deposit and getting yourself that mortgage and getting yourself into debt for a reason and for your own home. As they say, knowledge is power, and that's what I really want to give you with the course and with the coaching that I offer after the course as well. Really give you the knowledge and the power to be able to go out and make your own decisions when buying your home, and talk you through the whole process from beginning to end. So let's take a look at that now.
Throughout the course, we'll explain week by week the buying process. So we'll start with personal finances. I will give you free printable downloadable trackers for your deposits, for your savings, and also for your budgeting and spending. We'll look at your credit score and what you can do to improve this just by your everyday actions at the moment, so that when you do come to see your mortgage broker, you're in the best possible position to get the best possible mortgage for you. And that will lead us on to the next step. It will be your decision or agreement in principle. So you do have access to my contacts, so I can put you in touch with mortgage brokers that will be able to check whole of the market for you, so you really know that you're getting the best possible mortgage for you, depending on your circumstances. Once you've got that decision in principle or agreement in principle, you know exactly how much you've got to spend, which is amazing. Not a lot of people start off their property search knowing exactly what their budget is, and this can lead to disappointment. So you are one step ahead already. When you get to your property search and viewings, we supply you with a wants and needs printable download for this one, so you can, particularly if you're buying with somebody else, you can narrow down exactly what it is you're looking for and make sure you're both on the same page, whether it be a partner, a friend or a relative. It is good to know that you're both on the same page when you start your property search. Otherwise you could be viewing some very different properties depending on who booked the viewings. With regards to viewings, again, we go through what you should be looking at what viewing. So I always recommend a second viewing, and we talk about the difference between a first viewing and a second viewing and what you need to get from each one. So you really know when you're in a position that you want to buy a property, you really know all there is to know about it, and you've got all the information to hand to make an informed decision as to whether you want to put an offer forward and what offer you want to put forward. And that's the exciting bit. We're going to then negotiate the offer, and this is where the course really comes into its own. It's about giving you the tools and the confidence to make an offer on a property that not necessarily doesn't have to be thousands and £1,000s lower than the asking price, but just one that you're confident that you're happy to pay for that property and you feel the property is worth. So it really gives you that knowledge and understanding of knowing what a property is worth and what it's worth to you, for you to be able to put in a reasonable offer and then negotiate on that as well. Sometimes it's not even necessarily physical hard cash. It can be items of furniture, anything that you can negotiate to make the deal better and make the deal work for you. That is my main aim in the course, really tailoring this so it is aimed around you. You are getting the best for your money and your property. Once you've had your offer agreed, we will look at instructing solicitors. So I will give you again my contacts so we can get you some quotes to make sure that you're getting the best possible service for the best possible price. When it comes to solicitors, sometimes the cheapest option isn't always the best option. Something that you think you're going to save a couple of £100s on now actually ends up costing you a lot more when the sale doesn't go through, due to a solicitor not being able to keep up with what you need. One of the first jobs of the solicitor will be the searches. But do you really know what searches are? This is what we're going to go into. Exactly what are they searching for, and what information will it give you, and how will it benefit you? They can be a bit long-winded searches, so we sort of highlight over the top so that you know any red flags, you know what to look for, but you don't have to spend hours reading paperwork. And then it will be your survey. So some people do just go with the lender's valuation report survey, which is fine. It can be fine. It may be that you need more. So I'll explain all the different types of surveys, what they give you, what they're going to cost you, and what information you can take from them. That way you can make an informed decision based on the type of property and maybe the area of property that you are buying in, whether you need a more in-depth survey and a bit more information before you commit to spending that much of your hard-earned cash. Next up is checking all the paperwork and signing. So you will be sent various bits of paperwork and documentation throughout the sales process. So it's really going through that with you, letting you know what it means and what to look out for, what information you should be looking for, and what questions that you should be asking your solicitor at this point before exchange of contracts. At the exchange of contract stage, you are legally bound to purchase the property. So you really need to double check and make sure that everything's in place and you're happy with everything before you sign an exchange, because after that, the property is yours. Moving on to your removals and packing up. This is actually a time that people find most stressful. So we just give you a cheat sheet just to keep you on track, reduce your stress, and make sure everything runs smoothly up until moving day. There are lots of things to remember with regards to utilities, changing over your new address, Very, very important, your insurances, to make sure you're covered should anything happen. So yeah, because there's so many things to remember, and the likelihood is, if you haven't bought a property, as you haven't bought a property before, if you haven't even been responsible for some of these insurances before, you will need reminding, and you will need telling which ones you need to get. So that's really what this is for. And again, there's a free downloadable printable sheet, tick sheet, that you can make sure you've got everything covered and you're in the best possible position for the most exciting part, moving day. But completion, what does it actually mean? What happens on the day of completion? When do you get your keys? How are you going to know? How are you going to find out? What do you need to do? We'll go through all of this at the end of the course, and then you will be completely ready and you'll understand every step of the process, ready to buy your new home.
As well as explaining the process from start to finish, we're also going to look at some additional bits and pieces, some information that will help you, because not everybody's path is the same. In fact, everybody's path is different. What is good for one person, it might be good for one person to buy a property that needs refurbishment that might be a bit cheaper. It might be better for another person to look at shared ownership. There's lots of different ways around buying a property. So we're next going to look at all the additional bits and hints and tips that I'm going to give you.
So some of the additional material we're going to cover throughout the course will be some first-time buyer schemes, savings schemes with regard to the lifetime ISAs, and different ways you can buy a property with the Help to Buy scheme and shared ownership. We're also going to look at some jargon that you might not necessarily, words that you might not necessarily have come across before, legal jargon, property jargon, and financial jargon within the mortgage side of things as well. So it will just help you understand a bit more what everybody's going on about when the time comes. And then you've obviously got my resources as well. So you've got templates and checklists for every single step of the process I mentioned earlier, from the budget and finance trackers to viewing cheat sheets, so that you can know exactly what questions to ask and you can tick those off. And it also helps you compare one house to another, and that sees you all the way through, as I say, to your utilities checklist, to make sure that you've swapped everything over into your new address, particularly those important policies and documents. You've also got free access to all of my contacts. So that will include mortgage brokers, solicitors, surveyors, anything that you need. And obviously you will have my contact details. So if you do need the number of anybody, you can just give me a call or drop me a message, and we'll make sure that you have the best in the business, somebody that's going to look after you at a reasonable price, to make sure that you're covered and you're confident when you're buying your property.
In addition to the first time buyer course, I also offer a more one-to-one service if you think that's what you need. In the coaching, I will hold your hand every step of the way. So when you're getting your documents together to take to your mortgage broker, when you're getting your credit report, I'll send you the links, I'll help you fill in any paperwork, and then I'll do that all the way through until you move in. So regardless of how long it takes, whether you are moved into a new home in 3 months or a year and a half, which hopefully we will be able to get you in before that. But whatever it takes, I will be there every step of the way. When you are viewing, if you want to FaceTime me and with any questions at your viewings, ask me any questions if you want any things you need to check or are unsure of, that's absolutely fine. And the same with your solicitor's paperwork. We can have a look at that either in an appointment or over Zoom. Or you can send me your paperwork through to check over to make sure that you've got everything you need, you've understood everything properly, and ask me any questions that you're not sure on. Unfortunately for first time buyers, everybody in the process has somebody that they can go to. If you're selling a home, you employ an estate agent to sell your home, and you can go to that estate agent and ask them any questions and they can help you through. As a first time buyer, you've not got anybody working for you, and this is where I come in and the coaching process comes in. I personally think where you make your money on it and where it really adds value to you is the negotiating the offer. So I hold your hand every step of the way with this. We talk about exactly what you think it's worth. I can investigate other offers that the property may have had, what other properties have gone for in the area. We really look into it and what we think is the right offer for you to put forward. And I'm happy to put those offers forward for you as well. Collate all your information that you're going to need to make sure that you're in the best possible position to have your offer accepted as well. And yeah, in the past we have managed to get people have a good offer accepted by just being able to use our negotiation skills. Estate agents deal with property offers all day, every day. They are professional negotiators. That quite often is their title in the business. They are a property negotiator. So when you're coming up against that, having never been in that position before, it can be really daunting. And as I say, that's where I come in to hold your hand. I've been negotiating property offers for 23 years now. I understand the process and I understand what you need to do to get your offer accepted. So we'll really look at that and, as I say, really work together to make sure that you stand the best possible chance of getting your offer accepted. And sometimes it's not even necessarily, let's say, about money. We'll make sure that whatever's included in the sale, whatever you want included in the sale is included in the sale, and make sure it's the best thing for you and you're getting the best out of your deal. Sometimes, as much as I'd love to promise you every offer is accepted, sometimes people are pipped to the post. But again, this is where I'm here as a friendly smile and a shoulder to cry on before we pick ourselves up, dust ourselves down and start looking for the next property where we've got a little bit more experience and we're a little bit more clued up on what we can go into with regards to negotiating and the offering. So as I say, that is really the one-to-one coaching. If you aren't confident and you haven't got any experience with negotiating offers, the one-to-one coaching purely for that reason is well worth it. But obviously you get me through to the end of the transaction, you get me through to moving day. So when problems arrive with progression, when an estate agent asks you a question that you're not sure of, when the solicitor wants something done that you're not sure what that means, that's what I'll be here for. We'll WhatsApp, video call, however you prefer to communicate. You've got access to me 7 days a week. You just let me know what you need, and I'll be here to help you so that we can get you moved in.
So if you're interested in the first time buyer course, this will involve 4 90-minute videos which cover the whole process that will be sent to you weekly throughout the course of 1 month. They all start at the beginning of the month and will run through for the 4 weeks. Each video will be emailed to you with the relevant downloadable printable planners, checklists and cheat sheets for each stage. And also accompanying each video will be any useful links and contacts I think will help you throughout the process. The total investment for this is $199.99. And if you're interested, do please drop me an email or drop me a message. I will include my details at the end of the course so that you can contact me and I'll send an invoice out and be ready for the 1st of next month. Might like the best of both worlds. I do think knowledge is power, and as you go through the buying process, you will learn various skills. However, if you would like to have the course and be able to watch the 4-week course either as you're going through the process or before you start your coaching ready to buy your dream home, then we have created the package. Now, this will be the complete first-time buyer course as well as the full coaching experience from start to move-in, including the all-important negotiating on the price. The first payment is $299.99 and that starts before coaching starts, and the second payment of $299.99 when the offer is accepted. So for a total investment of $599.99, you can have the peace of mind that not only have you got someone holding your hand every step of the way, you've got your core knowledge and education around buying a property that you'll be able to use in years to come. Again, the course, as ever, will be sent to you four weekly sessions across the month from week 1 to week 4. And you'll have this to watch anytime and look back on, as well as having me on hand 7 days a week for any questions. I'm a professional with you every step of the way whilst buying your first property to make sure that you get the right property for you at the right price at the right time. Then the coaching course is for you. You've got access to my advice 7 days a week. I can assist you with everything from arranging finances, booking viewings, attending viewings, even if that's virtually through FaceTime, completing paperwork, arranging surveys for you and getting professional quotes. Anything you need, anytime. You've got a direct line to myself and my advice anytime. And most importantly, that all-important advice on negotiating, making sure you get the property for the right price. I can even do this on your behalf for you. This is where the course really does come into its own. Now, I do understand as first-time buyers and budgeting for your first home and deposit, money needs to be broken down. So I've broken this down into 2 payments. The first payment of $249.99 as the coaching starts, and the second payment of $249.99 when your offer is accepted before the progression process. So your total investment is $499.98. This will give you complete peace of mind, confidence, and get you that price knocked down too. For any more information or any questions that you have, or to register for any of the courses, coaching, anything at all, do please get in touch. You can contact me by emailing rachel@goodtogoproperties.com, call, text or WhatsApp on 07903 198 927, or drop me a DM on Instagram at All Things Property with Rach. I'd love to hear from you with any questions or any feedback at all. Anything I can do to help and get you on the property ladder, I'm more than happy to do. As you know, it is my passion to get anybody at all, any first-time buyers that want to buy their own home, get them on the property ladder. So I'm here to help you.